Hi everyone. Am I live? I'm live. Hi everyone. Thanks for tuning in. This is the summary of the Parashat Hashavua, Parashat Vayeshev, and I haven't done it on the computer for a while, but I think it all looks good. Yeah. I'm just curious what happens here if I press this. Oh, cool. I can share it to Facebook. That's cool. Hold on a second. Post to Facebook. Yay. That's what I want. We'll share it on a page I manage, which is, where's my Rabbi Pesach? There it is. And post to Facebook. Very good. All right. So Parashat Vayeshev. Excuse me a second. I'll call my wife right back. Yaakov's favorite son was Yosef, his ben Zekunim, son of old age. Yaakov made for Yosef a multicolored silk coat as a sign of distinction and lordship. This aroused the jealousy of Yosef's brothers until they actually hated Yosef and could not even talk to him congenially. Yosef dreamt two dreams with the same obvious message. His brothers' hate intensified as they heard Yosef's dreams. In the first dream, the sheaves of his brothers bowed down to his own sheaf, which was standing upright in their midst. In the second, the sun, moon, and 11 stars representing the rest of Yosef's family bowed down to him. The implication of these dreams was that all the members of Yosef's family would become subservient to him. Yaakov rebuked Yosef for arousing his brothers' enmity, though he personally noted and waited for fulfillment of the dreams. When Yosef's brothers were away tending their father's flock in Shechem, Yaakov sent Yosef to see how they were faring. Yosef was on his way to his brothers when they noticed him from a distance. The brothers decided that this was their chance to conspire to kill him, throw his body into a pit, and then conceal their act by saying he had been eaten by a wild beast. Reuven knew that this was wrong. He wanted to save Yosef, but saw that the other brothers would not heed his word. However, he was able to convince them not to kill Yosef, but rather to cast him alive into a nearby pit. "Let it not be your hands that directly injure Yosef," argued Reuven. Reuven reasoned silently that later he would return after the brothers had left and save Yosef. When Yosef finally arrived, the brothers stripped him of his silk coat and, as Reuven had suggested, throw him alive into the pit. A caravan of Ishmaelites bearing spices to Egypt approached, and the idea occurred to Yehuda to sell Yosef as a slave rather than to directly cause his death. The brothers accepted this new plan and sold Yosef to the traveling Ishmaelites for 20 pieces of silver. Reuven, away while this was happening, returned to find no trace of Yosef. Much to his grief, the brothers then dipped the silk coat in the blood of a goat whose blood is similar to a human being, and brought it to Yaakov, who concluded that Yosef had been devoured by a wild beast. Yaakov mourned Yosef's loss for many days. Meanwhile, Yosef was being sold and resold many times. The Ishmaelites sold him to Midianite merchants. The merchants sold him to Egypt, to Potiphar, an officer of Paro. Yehuda had married the daughter of Shua, a merchant, who bore him 3 sons. The first son later married a woman named Tamar, but died soon after the marriage. The second son then married her, as it was the custom that the husband's surviving brother married the childless widow, which is called Yibum. However, this second husband also soon died. Yehuda feared that his third son would die if he married Tamar, so he asked Tamar to wait in her father's house until his youngest son grew up and was ready to marry her. Yehuda was only putting her off. He had no real intention of ever having the marriage take place. Realizing through a prophecy that the kings of Israel will descend from Yehuda, Tamar disguised herself and deceived Yehuda so that she should bear his child. When her pregnancy was discovered, Yehuda, not realizing that it was his own child that Tamar was carrying, condemned her to be burned. However, Tamar was able to prove that it was Yehuda himself who was the father of her unborn child. As Tamar was taken to be burned, she sent to Yehuda his staff and other personal possessions, saying, "By the man who owns these objects, I am pregnant." Yehuda thereupon realized and acknowledged that it was his child. He admitted that she was right, for he had not allowed Tamar to marry his remaining son, and she was saved from death. Hashem was with Yosef, and he was very successful on all his endeavors. Potiphar, realizing this, appointed him to the position of overseer of his household. Potiphar's wife tried to seduce Yosef, but Yosef rejected her daily advances. Potiphar's wife finally became insulted and reacted viciously by accusing him of molesting her, and Yosef was sent to prison. Even in prison, Hashem was with Yosef, and he found favor in the eyes of the prison warden. The warden placed Yosef in charge of all the prisoners, and everything that took place in the prison was controlled by Yosef. While there, Yosef came in contact with two royal officials, Paro's chief butler and baker. They had offended Paro and were in prison awaiting word of their fate. One night, each had a dream which they revealed to Yosef. Yosef interpreted the dreams to mean that the butler would be pardoned by Paro, but the baker would be executed. The events occurred exactly as Yosef had foretold. Yosef asked the butler to intercede on behalf, but the butler forgot this request as soon as he was released from prison. Thanks very much for listening, and hopefully you can come to our Hanukkah function, our Hanukkah dinner, which is next Friday night. We're having a Shabbat dinner here for Hanukkah with lots of great, yummy Sephardi food. So thank you very much for joining in. And you can book on what's it called? On on Try Booking. We'll go to Try Booking and do a search on Hanukkah. Maybe look up Sassoon Yehuda, and you should be able to find all the information you need to make a booking. Thanks. Bye. Have a great week. Yes, and